Video photo.
In sports in general, but in this moment, like, my heart can imagine playing the biggest game of my life and something like that happening. It's so unfortunate. It's not fair. The competition isn't fair sometimes. But yeah, I just felt so bad for him. I just asked if he was okay. Obviously, he wasn't. But to him for sure, hell of a player. Future's bright. That team's gonna be really good for a long time. Yeah, impressive team, impressive player. I wish them the best of luck. Rich.
Good morning, sleepyheads. Today is day 16 of visiting all 50 states in 50 days. We are currently in Florida. We got to this container Airbnb super late last night because there were 2 Wheel of Doom activations yesterday. Yesterday was chaotic. Running on fumes. We literally just got 2 Wheel of Dooms back to back.
First Wheel of Doom.
So with that being said, I really wanted to enjoy this Airbnb this morning. Here's what I did. First, I brushed my teeth, and then I decided to try, even made some latte art. Next, I sat on the couch and looked at videos of Spock that my dad sent us yesterday. Then I rode the electric to unlock a $10,000 donation. I can't believe they're still doing this. Before I tell you guys the game plan, and also reveal to Haley the next state and the next Airbnb, we need to update our cool ranking. Yes, in a perfect world, Haley and I are visiting all 50 states in 50 days, but we are also trying to find the coolest Airbnb in each state along the way. You found the espresso machine.
And I'm on my second latte before 10 a.m.
Things are getting a little crazy around here.
That thing is nice.
If Haley and I disagree, we have to come to an agreement. That's how the ranking works. The Florida Container House ranking is 1, 2, 3, 7.
4.
Whoa, we got a gap.
Typically, you give me one reason and I fold. This time, I don't think I'm folding very easily.
Okay. Give me your best reasoning of why it's above some of these iconic Airbnbs. Nuclear Missile Complex, Container Ranch, Frank Lloyd Wright Desert Villa.
First, let me say, this is a man's personal home, and I can feel that. There's love in this home. Number 2, the thought process it took to even design a home like this out of containers, that's a genius in and of itself. This home shouldn't even exist.
No, you are so right. This is a cool house. I keep forgetting that cool is the criteria, and this meets the quota. You just completely convinced me.
Yes.
I wasn't being ambitious.
Woohoo! That looks good.
Also, the Airbnb host asked us to draw on this wall, so we drew ourselves and the Wheel of Doom. Little Easter egg if anyone ever comes here. You ready for the game plan?
Yes, I can't wait to see where we're going.
Oh, there's a cat. Do you have anything to say about the 50-state series?
4 Wheel of Dooms in a row.
Okay, buddy. We're going to do the game plan now. Haley, you ready for the game plan?
Yep.
Take a look at this map. Conventional wisdom would say to go straight to Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Wrong. I'm a freak. We're not going to Georgia. Do you think the Nut House being the first Airbnb was a coincidence? Think again. We are not going to Georgia because we are going to Charleston, South Carolina.
Don't mess with me, Trahan. I've wanted to go to Charleston for so long.
That's crazy.
Are we really going there?
We're really going to Charleston.
I'm so excited.
Haley has been talking about Charleston, South Carolina for years. This is so fun. I'm so excited.
I'll sit.
Charleston Waterfront Retreat. And dire mistake, but hopefully that will make sense soon. You ready to go, Haley? Yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Go.
quick joyride run in Florida. Yeah, we're at CVS.
Just me and Bay. I can't believe we just said Bay. Just me and Bestie.
Last one. Yay. Yeah, joyride's now at CVS. Go check it out if you like to go here. Just crossed the Georgia state line. Well, guess what? We're gonna keep going. We're still going past it. Not even new state unlocked because we didn't even unlock it, basically. So the shower literally has plants as walls. First time I've ever seen that too. And if you go outside, you'll see this glorious view. It's glorious. Also, there's the bathtub from the listing. We found it. There it is. It's beautiful here in South Carolina. I think we'll just soak it in. Or up. Out.
Into the pores.
Donations, and then we'll spin it. So this is happening. Okay. All right, let's check donations. Electric e-bikes donated $10,000 once again. They might be. Okay, let's see.
Straight away, that Paul Pogba and Fati was the latest.
Ciao guys, yes, it's a busy week for Monaco, and it's fine to start from there because today we'll have plenty of things to discuss about English clubs and more, also Spanish clubs. But in France, Monaco are very active. Obviously, for Paris Saint-Germain, it's going to be a kind of normal summer, adding some quality players after having a fantastic season. And so, for example, Zabarni and more. But at the moment, in France, Monaco are the most active after signing Eric Dyer. They have an agreement with Paul Pogba on a 2-year contract. Today, the lawyers of Paul Pogba have sent contract counter confirmed to Monaco, and so we'll just wait for the medical test and the contract signing. Same for Ansu Fati. All the contracts are being checked with Barcelona, but it's all good. It's going to be a loan for Ansu Fati with a buy option clause, and also with the player extending his contract at Barcelona before leaving on loan. So that's part of the agreement, part of the deal with Barca. My understanding, both players will be in Monaco in the next hours. So Pogba and Ansu Fati will arrive in the next hours, could be already tonight, and then medical between Thursday, Friday, and over the weekend. Everything will be confirmed. So this week, everything will be confirmed for Paul Pogba and Ansu Fati to Monaco in a really ambitious project.
You mentioned about English clubs. I will start with Arsenal because Arsenal, we have many things to discuss about them. I will start with Kepa, one of the latest news you provided today.
Yeah, many movements for Arsenal, many because we are still all waiting to understand what's going to happen with the strikers, with the contacts continue with Benjamin Sesko, with Victor Gyokeres.
Days, there is an important update also on Thomas Partey. So what's the latest, what can we say today on the movements for midfielders?
Yeah, the situation with Thomas Partey is the one we explained last week, saying that Thomas Partey was leaning towards a move, a different chapter after negotiating a new contract with Arsenal. In some moments, there was some optimism to reach an agreement, but then agreement not completed between Arsenal and Thomas. And so the player is now expected and set to leave Arsenal at the end of the month and try a new chapter as a free agent. And Arsenal have started activating opportunities for the midfield because Jorginho left to join Flamengo. Neto is not going to be the second goalkeeper anymore. Thomas Partey was the most experienced player, the only one basically over 30 in the squad after Jorginho and Neto left, and so now Arsenal needs some experience in the squad, and they made a bid hours to Brentford for Christian Nordgaard. As it was reported by the Danish media, we can confirm that there is a negotiation ongoing, bid in excess of 10 million euros for Christian Nordgaard. The player wants the move, so personal terms are not an issue. The conversation will continue in the next hours and days between Arsenal and Brentford to try reach an agreement for Nordgaard, but he could.
One of the biggest names on the market right now is definitely Nico Williams. You discussed many times about Barcelona, Bayern Munich as well. So what's the latest on him?
Yeah, for Barca fans, we always have plenty of messages about Nico Williams, and it's important to clarify that probably in terms of timing, this week was always going to be calm for the Nico Williams story. I think Nico Williams did everything possible to go to Barcelona. So Nico did every single step he had to do, and probably even more, because it was 2 weeks ago on a Friday when his agent told Deco in a direct meeting that Nico wanted to go to Barca. Then the following week, Nico and Barca reached an agreement on personal terms, the contract valid for 6 years for a salary around 7-8 million euros net per season. So everything is done between Nico and Barca. Also, in the last 48 hours, Nico agent also informed Athletic Bilbao about the decision of the player to go to Barcelona, and so a very clear message coming from Nico. Now it's on Barca to pay the risk close, to find the solution with La Liga for financial fair play and all the rest. So they have to be patient at Barcelona, the fans too, because now Barca are in the process to try and make it work on the technical and financial point of view for Nico Williams. But now it's about the close, because Athletic Bilbao are still not accepting in any way to negotiate, to have payment terms, to have
Looking at the chat here live on YouTube, I see many questions on Manchester United, as always, and Buemo. So what can we say on this deal?
Yeah, look, the Manchester United maintain their optimism to reach an agreement with Brentford for Brian Buemo, also because we know they have an agreement with the player. What I can also been clear with Brentford. He loves Brentford. He has a fantastic relationship with all people at the club. Now the manager left, but it's about the staff, the management, the fans, the teammates. So Buemo is really in a great relationship with all people at Brentford. But he's also been clear in this case, telling them that going.
Let's now move to Nicholas Jackson, because I see also questions here in the chat. And what can we say about him? Can he really move to Italian football?
Yeah, we are receiving many questions on this Italian topic for Nicholas Jackson. But first of all, let's see what Chelsea decide to do with the future of the player.
Kwanzaa and Bayer Leverkusen, is everything okay between the parties involved?
Yes, they are basically just waiting for the player to be free after the Euros under 21 and then to undergo the medical and sign the contract. Let me clarify something on this deal, because my understanding transfer fee will be 30 million pounds, not euros, pounds guaranteed, plus 5 in add-ons pounds, so 35 million pounds potential total package, add-ons included, and also the buyback clause exclusively.
I started monetizing this YouTube channel even when I was having 80 subscribers, right? And by the time I reached 100 plus subscribers, I was already making $100 on this particular YouTube channel. Now, most people monetize YouTube channel and start making money, but in 2025, the game has changed. You no more need that again, okay? And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. Now, if this is something you find interesting, you want to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Let's get right. I'll show you how I did it. We need to understand YouTube monetization. Okay, so first of all, what is YouTube monetization? Okay, so YouTube monetization is simply being able to make money on your YouTube channel, right? Anything that is going to help you to make money on your YouTube channel is called YouTube monetization. You get me? So now when it comes to YouTube monetization, there are several ways of monetizing your YouTube channels right now. The major one, and the one we all know, is monetization, whereby you get your 1,000 subscribers and you get your 4,000 watch hours, and you apply for the YouTube monetization, where you put ads on your videos, right? And then make money from it. That is a normal one we all know, right? And if you want to wait and get that one, it's going to be very long, okay? Because you need to get 1,000 subscribers, you need to get $4. You get me? That is the amount of money I've made so far from this particular website. Okay, the question is, where did I get this money? How did I get this particular money? I'm showing you right now. Okay, don't worry. Now let me go to another website also. You can see that $44, right? $44. Okay, in my videos, right? Yes. So this is money that I
La la lili la lo, la 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 lili la lo le. I just come out my eyes, but I see many past this one. It's airy.
Today for call me Alewa.
Okay, Alewa, because black and white.
Yes.
Oh, okay, Alewa. I'm here with Alewa.
You be Alewa.
Yeah, but
Black
this one will
and
be white.
You make no worry, black and white.
And
White.
this color is what?
It be blue.
This is blue.
Yeah.
Are you color blind?
No, it be blue. You know they see the blue line
this
for here.
blue.
You know they see the
Me, I don't know.
light blue.
No.
No, they see the blue for
No.
inside.
This is no blue.
It's what?
Don't worry.
It be what?
It's not blue.
Scanty, it be blue.
This
Be
not
what?
blue.
It's
I
what?
know blue. This is not blue.
So what is this?
No, I don't want to say it.
Say it.
No, no.
Disgrace me.
No. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. We are going to do this story because I needed her take on this particular story.
Okay.
Just as people are talking about it online, people are sharing different angles. People say they don't see anything wrong with what is happening, but I can't just comment alone. So probably I'll need someone from the female side to also let us know what they think about this particular story. Sinaso has posted a video with Stoneboy. Yes, that features the song. What the title of the song be what? Larger Than Life. Yes, Larger Than Life.
Yeah.
Yes, the song of the Did I Lie album, right? Yes. So Stoneboy, like them do some small dance and things. But I'll bring you guys the details to that particular story. But before that, this episode is brought to you by Calabasas.
Calabar.
Calabasas.
Calabar.
Now it's
Yeah,
time.
they are brochia bagana.
Yeah, they are bruchiri abagana.
Yeah, the Ghana so called.
Yeah, the Ghana aqua bruchiri. Yes, bro. A restaurant where they sell both local and then continental dishes.
Yes.
International, we go chop. Continental, we go fly. Yeah. Yes, Calabasas, they sell local food. They have banku and PC every day. They sell it every single day. Omutu and then fufu is Sundays from 12 p.m. Yes, continental dishes. They have seafood. They have creamy pastas. Bro, anything American and English breakfast, then get some for there. Aside they being enjoying that sell food, they have space for events. Bro, they have space for events.
Let's we enjoy our single
So the
life.
night
Ghana.
before the wedding
Exactly.
for women, passes and the location, their number. Yes. Now let's go straight into the story. Yesterday in the afternoon, Sinaso posted a video with Stoneboy, and you know she released she released an album, so she did promote the album and the songs on the album. So one song featuring Stoneboy, she posted it as a video. She was dancing. Guys, watch the video. Then after she posted a video, the first few minutes, the comments were positive. But this morning is like the comment take turns because people are having different sides.
The comments make you tense.
Yes, people take different sides to the video. Like, no, Stoneboy, no for do this. Sinaso shouldn't have done that. People say this is okay. People say this is normal. People say they can't marry someone like just. What do you make of the video that you just watched?
From the first minute to like from the first seconds to 16 seconds was good.
Okay.
Straight up from
timestamp.
Oh yeah, I watch everything.
All
so
right.
from 16 seconds
Okay.
down to the 25, it was bad. And you could tell it was our boy that was calling. Yo,
Okay.
give me 360. Give me 360. Give me 360. And Sinaso also said, oh, Beam is requesting for a 360.
Guys, watch the first 16 seconds she's talking about. Now watch the other. Yeah.
So that's when Awa was doing this. And the girl was like, okay. And then she gave Awa the 360 and was like, you know, Awa was grinding the girl and all that. And to me, Stoneboy isn't someone that we know he likes doing stuff like this.
Okay.
Because this whole thing takes me back to when he had his show with Spice.
Okay.
This is when Stoneboy had to call Spice on stage and that kind of thing. And everyone was even talking about it. That Stone, yo, this is not you. You are married to a doctor. Respect the profession. We know artists that will do this. You don't do this. So to me personally, Stonebwoy for not do that. He wasn't supposed to do that.
Okay.
But it's not really bad because some of them are grabbing
Stonebwoy is not
asses.
supposed to grind because
Yeah, one, he's married. And the
okay.
kind of wife he's married to. There are certain wives you can do this to.
What do you mean?
Oh, look at Stonebwoy's wife.
So some
Dr.
wives
Louis.
like what?
There are certain
Wives
artists.
that you can grind.
Yeah.
Which
No,
wife?
no. What I'm saying is there are certain wives that you have that you can grind other girls.
Like
do you
what?
understand me?
Like some wives, like which wives?
Do you
Not
understand?
name per se. You are using wife because of the profession.
Profession.
So give
not
me
just the profession,
Okay.
but the kind of person she is.
Who is
Apart from the profession,
Who
we
is
know
she?
her to be that cool G, that
Okay.
quiet.
Grind.
You get it. And there
I
are
don't
certain
get it,
wives
so I'm just asking
you have to get it. Let me use these two people as an example. Way back, Medical and then Fela, when they were married, you could tell Medical will go on stage, grind somebody, and then Fela will also go to the club and be smoking shisha with D Black.
Okay.
So such a thing, when you see Medical doing it, it be cool. When you see Fela doing it, it is cool.
I think that,
You-
that angle
it makes sense.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah,
So
no, I get-
it
I
was
got you.
like a no thing for me. So somewhere this one. It is
Okay.
very. If it was Medical, it will be news. It is not news because Medical is fan of doing these things.
Okay.
But coming from Stonebwoy, and with what it happened, I don't really see it.
Just music promo that they are promoting.
And it just
And-
happened. They had to. No,
Exactly.
they didn't plan it.
Yeah.
It just happened.
And there's nothing wrong if you are married and you are grinding.
So yeah, Iran is declaring victory. Great. As long as the missiles stop flying, everything is okay.
Put out a statement on truth, and they didn't do anything. And Iran's not going to have a nuclear weapon. I think it's the last thing on their mind right now.
Do you want to see regime change in Iran?
If there was. See everything calm down as quickly as possible. Regime change is chaos. You know, the Iranians are very good traders, and they got a lot of oil. They should be fine. They should be able to rebuild and do a good job. The last thing on their mind is nuclear weapons. And now we're going to NATO, and we'll get a new set of problems.
Do you think you'll meet with Zelensky when you're there?
Yeah.
What would you say to him?
Say, how you doing? It's tough. He's in a
Think you'll meet with Zelensky when you're there?
Yeah, probably. I'll see him.
What would you say to him?
Say, how you doing?
Guys,
He's in a tough situation. I'd like to see a deal with Russia. As you know, Vladimir called me up. He said, can I help you with Iran? I said, no, I don't need help with Iran. I need help with you.
you know what's crazy is that we have another 3.5 years of this. And that's at the minimum.
Wait, what you mean by minimum? Did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around the N-word, nuclear, and saying that he and other countries would supply nuclear warheads to Iran? Did he really say that, or is it just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know. Immediately, the N-word should not be treated so casually.
China is unveiling one of its tiniest military drones yet, a mosquito-sized aircraft apparently designed for battlefield surveillance. Researchers at China's National University of Defense Technology showed off the microdrone during a state television broadcast. Tiny unmanned aircraft fits between 2 fingers. It flies using a pair of flapping leaf-shaped wings and can perch using 3 hair-thin landing legs. Claim is the drone's compact size allows it to hidden while gathering intelligence in urban or sensitive environments. The drone packs power systems, sensors, and control circuits into its tiny frame, pushing the limits of micro-robotic engineering. China's new micro drone joins a growing global race to field micro UAVs. Norway's Black Hornet, widely used by Western militaries, offers a palm-sized platform. The Lake Hornet 4 features enhanced battery life, improved wind resistance, and a longer range, earning a U.S. Defense Department Blue UAS Refresh Award this year. The U.S. Air Force is also working on micro UAVs, though no operational versions have been publicly fielded so far. Beyond the battlefield, scientists see potential for minute drones in fields like medicine, disaster response, and environmental monitoring. Harvard's RoboBee project, for example, developed insect-sized drones that can fly, land, and even transition between water and air. But on the battlefield, these ultra drones could become a new tool for silent surveillance, giving militaries eyes where traditional systems can't reach. For more of our unbiased, straight fact reporting like this, download the Straight News app today.
A bank mistakenly sent 800,000 Ghana cedis to a certain woman who was sitting somewhere minding her business. And then the bank mistakenly sent 800,000 Ghana cedis into her account. Now she used the money, and now police has caught her, and they are jailing her.
Imagine you walk into an African village where smartphones have changed daily life. However, you won't see iPhones or Samsung devices. In contrast, the three brands dominate the market. Techno, Inifix, and Intel, all owned. How did a company most people in the West have never heard of edge out Samsung in Africa's market by 2017, capturing nearly half the continent's smartphone users? To answer that, we need to look at why the world's biggest tech players ignored the continent for so long. Africa's smartphone market was ignored for years. Big tech companies focused on the US, Europe, and East Asia, while Africa stayed disconnected. In the early 2000s, only 3% of people in Africa had landline phones. Manhattan alone had more phone lines than all of sub-Saharan Africa. Most rural people couldn't use regular phones, and poor infrastructure kept communities apart. This situation was also an opportunity. With few landlines, countries began using mobile phones as the main form of communication. Mobile users grew from 17 million in 2001 to 53 million in 2004. In 2007, Kenya launched M-Pesa, letting users send money and pay bills by phone. People didn't need a bank account to use it. Other countries soon followed similar services. Phones became important for daily life, not just for convenience, but because they were often the only option. Still, there were problems. Phones and mobile data were costly. By 2019, 1 gig of data cost over 10% of a person's monthly income. Global phone brands did little to help. Most offered expensive models in city stores, which many people couldn't afford. Rural users got left out. These phones also didn't work well for daily life in Africa. Battery life was short. There were no dual SIM options. Phones couldn't handle heat, dust, or humidity. For companies focused on Africa's needs, there's a real chance to succeed. Global brands didn't understand local problems. Their phones stayed expensive and lacked useful features. Many people waited for a better choice. Transsion saw this opening. When it entered Africa, it was not well known. Competing with big global brands, it did more than lower prices. It made products for local needs more. Transsion built phones for Africa by focusing on what people needed, not on what was popular elsewhere. The team started fresh and asked what made sense for communities. Photography showed this best. Most smartphones came with cameras tuned for lighter skin. So many Africans got bad selfies and unclear photos. Transsion changed this by training their cameras with millions of local faces and studying lighting in African environments. They made phone cameras that worked well for dark skin, even in poor light. People finally saw themselves clearly in photos. Transsion also knew most people use 2 SIM cards to switch between providers for better coverage or prices. Their phones offered dual SIM slots by default. This made it easy for users to control costs and stay connected. Power. In many places, electricity is unreliable. Other phone brands focused on fancy screens or fast chips. Transsion gave phones a long battery life so that people could go on days without charging. Reliable power became a basic feature, not just a selling point. Durability mattered too. Transsion phones were built to last in tough conditions, like dust, heat, and rough use. The company cared less about slim designs and more about making sure the phones kept working. Transion's choices built trust. Transsion invested in research and development to keep getting better. In 2023, the company put around $200 million about 6.5% of their revenue, into new technology. This money went to improve cameras, batteries, software, and phone durability. Transient also launched at least 10 new products.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Point a camera at the Earth 600 kilometers above the surface. It's pretty mesmerizing. But point it at the Korean Peninsula and you'll see this. South Korea is ablaze, but North Korea is almost totally dark. You've got this little point here for Pyongyang, the capital, but it's mostly a void. The Black Void tells a story of how the 25 million people live in this secretive kingdom of North Korea. But as the sun rises, we get to fill in the details. We get to see more. We get to see cities designed to control. We get to see an unfathomable amount of military installations, many of them burrowed into mountains, where they protect nuclear weapons, where the over 1 million soldiers endlessly prepare for war.
There's over 10,000 manned military installations. So air defense, bases, naval sites, all that squeezed into Pennsylvania.
We see factories, lots of factories. We see these little islands of dense housing, which are the homes of the workers who are assigned here. We see barriers, lots of barriers. Barriers meant to keep people in. And not just on the borders with neighbors, but also within the country itself. Checkpoints and barriers between provinces. I've been looking at every inch of North Korea because I want to understand how it actually works. I want to understand how the all-powerful leaders have designed this place and why. And I've been stumbling upon stuff that I never thought I'd see in North Korea. Ski resorts, an international children's camp, lots and lots of water slides, markets where people buy and sell things, schools and fields, fruit factories, coal shipments, limestone mines, burial grounds, prison camps in the cities and the mountains. Lots of strange looking buildings, stadiums and tracks, and sports fields, empty roads and empty squares. Churches, a turtle-shaped building, apartment blocks where rich people live. I mean, you stumble upon some pretty wild stuff when you just scour every inch of the satellite map. I've also been talking to experts who spend their time looking at the map of North Korea, analyzing it day by day for decades. Their data's been really useful. To see North Korea in a totally different way. I think I've been exposed to a very specific version of this country. And that doesn't mean it's an inaccurate version, but it's just one version. Today I want to show you a deeper version. Now the map can't tell us everything, but I'm seeing how it can fill in the blanks in my knowledge of how this country actually works, broadening my perspective on this most secretive kingdom in our world. So buckle up and let's get ready to look at this map. I mean, this whole country is under one giant surveillance. And I guess while we're talking about surveillance, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video, which has a lot to do with surveillance, because all of us are actually surveilled, whether we like it or not. I guess if we're on the internet, which you're on the internet right now, so you're being surveilled. A very lucrative industry in today's world is that technically there's a
North Korea is usually viewed as, this hellscape of a place, but it's actually really beautiful. Lots of mountains and hills and rare animals and everything.
It's home to this huge mountain range. Among these rugged mountains, you've got this volcano, Mount Paektu. It's kind of a sacred spot for North Koreans. It's where their legends say their great leader Kim Jong-il was born. Incidentally, it's right on this border, actually. Half of Mount Paektu is on the Chinese side. China, North Korea. North Korea can get really cold and snowy. It's home to between 20 and 30 million people. It's about half as many as live in South Korea. And it was the war in the 1950s that created these two Koreas, and in the process turned what is now North Korea into dust. Today, North Korea is built around a few major cities. Here's the 10 most populous. Some have ports, some are up on the border with China, and then there's the city of Pyongyang. This is the capital. A lot of this had to be redesigned from scratch because the country was destroyed in the Korean War. The country itself is designed in line with this North Korean communist ideology of a human body. The great leader is the brain, and then the members of his single-party government represents the nervous system that connects his will to the masses. The masses are the bones and the muscle, the ones who carry out the work of building this country. The country is supposed to act as one, serving the will of the brain, the great leader. And what I'm seeing is that this kind of body configuration allows them to do some pretty unique things. First and foremost, military. Most countries spend like between 1% and 4% of their GDP on military. North Korea spends like between 20 and 25% of their GDP on their military. And we've got the data on what that looks like. Whoa, okay, settle down, big boy. Oh, God. Look at this. Oh my Lord, look at this. I don't think I've ever seen so many yellow push pins in my life. It kind of reminds me of that map of like saunas in Finland. Place is like a fortress. You can see that a lot of this is concentrated down here on their southern border. This is the DMZ. It's actually a 4-kilometer thick border. And technically within this 4 kilometers, there's supposed to be no military stuff. That is, if you don't count the thousands of landmines that are there left over from the Korean War and that North Korea continues to plant. But in terms of weapons, most of it is right here on the border of the DMZ. North Korea has 900 artillery guns that are aimed right at Seoul, South Korea. In the event of a conflict, these guns could fire 10,000 rounds a minute at South Korea, which would make good on their promise to turn South Korea into a sea of fire, which they often make towards their southerly neighbor. Now, a reminder, it's not just North Korea. If we were mapping American or South Korean military assets, you'd see a lot of those too down here. But we are looking at North Korea right now. You got underground bunkers, missile launch sites, nuclear reactors, airstrips, naval bases. So you've got the thousands of landmines, and of course, this little pavilion where soldiers from both sides stand meters apart. 1,000 observation posts, 300 checkpoints and roadblocks, tons of military facilities that support the soldiers here. And then, of course, tunnels. Man, you're going to see a lot of underground stuff here. North Korea is covered with these things, and this is just the ones we know of. One explanation for these tunnels is that during the Korean War, this country was basically flattened. Almost every building was turned to dust by American bombs. So is this paranoid fear of air power. They designed their defense strategy to be ready for if that ever happens again. So you have a lot of these fortified bases and tunnels. Some of them are for weapons storage, and some of them are for invasion. Like down here on the DMZ, they dug a bunch of tunnels that are kilometers long that go under the DMZ. This would allow them to move troops into South Korea very quickly. I actually went into one of these tunnels that had been discovered by South Korea. But these tunnels also have another purpose. And in fact, the military itself, a big portion of it, is dedicated to protecting one family. This is the barracks that houses some of the 100,000 bodyguards meant to protect the Kim family. This hill is like a giant bunker. It's home to a bunch of military installations, some of them deep underground, a lot of them connected through tunnels. And this is one of the many escape plans that the Kim family has in case of an attack. They can escape on an armored train or in one of the helicopters that is stored inside of this hill. There's rumors that there is another huge tunnel system on the northern border that would sneak into China if they needed to.
Just the amount of effort put into the security of the Kims themselves versus, helping out your average person. I don't think people really realize the amount of security infrastructure that they have.
But it's not all underground. The country is littered with guns and missiles that are meant for shooting down aircraft. A third of those, by the way, are concentrated around Pyongyang, the capital. Look at this. Very funky looking from above. Here in the middle. You've got the Air Force. The Air Force is one of their larger military branches. And then you've got their Navy, which has a bunch of submarines. A lot of them not totally operable, experts think. But in a recent video we made on submarines, we calculated at least 36 operable submarines hanging out in bases like this. Now look at their missile sites. Missiles, rockets, nuclear weapons are a for this regime, and especially the most recent leader, who, as you can see from this graph, has really ramped up the testing of all of this. These missiles have all kinds of different ranges, but the longest ones can go 12,000 kilometers away. I mean, that puts a lot of the world in range, including the United States, are up here in these mountain bases where they store these missiles and where they can launch them. But lately, non-weapons into space. This launch pad is where, over the last couple of years, they've tried to put satellites up into space.
It's put a satellite in orbit. There's only about 11 or 12 countries around the world that have ever put a satellite in orbit.
The military is core to keeping the Kims in power, which is why they often show it off. I love this video from The Guardian. They know when one of these things is going to happen because there's like a replica of the Kim Il-sung Square, the big central square, where all of these soldiers get together and practice. And so whenever they see activity in that practice square, they know that they're getting ready for one of these. So the military is a very important part of keeping the Kims in power. It's used as propaganda. It's used as actual defense. And it's often used to actually like build stuff. And you've got one of the largest militaries in the world, 1 million plus active duty. They're able to command that to do all sorts of projects, including construction projects, which we're going to look at. One thing you'll see a lot of in North Korea is fences, and not to necessarily keep people from coming in, but more so to keep people from going out. They've spent years building a fence around the entire perimeter of the country, at least 1,400 kilometers, bordering China alone. Here's all the security outposts. I mean, this fencing goes through all kinds of terrain, including dug into the beach. And a lot of this was built recently, as more and more people have been trying to escape. And then within the country itself, there are barriers that control people's movement. The country has checkpoints at the province border and without permission. So yeah, a lot of people can't get out of North Korea, but some can. In fact, there's a whole network of IT professionals, North Korean like engineers, who interview for Western tech jobs, get hired, and then pass money and information back to the North Korean regime, all without their employer knowing it.
Okay, I'm about to try to conduct a job interview for the first time in my life. I reached out to David Wensky, a senior engineer, and he responded to me 3 hours after I reached out, but I'm not actually hiring anybody. And I don't think David Wensky is actually who he says he is.
This is a big rabbit hole that is very juicy, and my colleague Christoph went down that rabbit hole in a new video that's live right now over on his channel. His show is called Tunnel Vision. It is very good, and this story about IT espionage and money funneling back to North Korea is incredibly wild, how deep Christoph was able to get. So you should go check that. Okay, so a lot of this stuff probably isn't that surprising to you. This is the kind of stuff we see on the news, the stuff that gets covered a lot, the military, the missiles, the control. But now I want to get to the part of this country that really led me to this video in the first place, which is the stuff that we don't see very often, to try to expand my understanding of what it is like to live in North Korea. What is life like in these cities, out here in the rural areas? How do they make stuff? Where do they get their food, entertainment, community? Turns out that between defector testimony, state news, and the satellite map, you can actually learn a lot about this stuff. A lot of North Korea's cities were designed from scratch after the city was turned into rubble because of the Korean War. And because of that, they have very unique design that is meant to fulfill a certain objective that is in line with North Korean ideals of controlling people, unifying people, and continuously celebrating their leaders and the struggle of their continuous revolution. So many of us have seen the capital. We'll get to that. But I want to look at these other cities. A lot of North Korean cities are built around a big central square like this. A lot of them have these circles that look like they're hand-drawn. the middle of the city. Then you have these massive boulevards that kind of frame out the city. Now you'll quickly notice in a lot of these cities that these boulevards are pretty empty. You see a lot more buses than you see private cars. Oh, and you see a mosque every once in a while. I tried to get to the bottom of what the deal is with these mosques. North Korea has a couple of these churches are mostly there for optics, from what I can tell. More on that in a little bit. So you've got these empty boulevards, lots of empty squares that lead to these kind of grand, punctuated with some kind of monument. Here's one. Here we go, Central Square. I mean, we can go back in time too and sort of look at the historical imagery. Huge boulevards, often very empty. Oh, boom, look, someone's visiting. So when you see people, you often see them in huge groups like this. At least that's what I've noticed from above. When there's people, there's a lot of them and they're all very close. But oftentimes this stuff is empty. Oh, look, here's a bunch of people lined up in perfect geometry on this square. Every major city has a stadium. Kind of bad shape, but some are really nice. Sports is a big deal in North Korea.
Some of the sports they do very well. So they're definitely in some areas sort of hitting above their weight.
Though defectors do report that sometimes a stadium has been used for public executions or public shamings. A big part of the control regime in North Korea is to publicly punish to keep people in line. Okay, and then recently the government declared that every city needs to have one of these. Check this out. There are around 170 of these traffic parks, and these are new, but these are very important to North Korean cities. Remember all those empty streets? Like, most people don't own cars in North Korea. They go on buses. But recently that's kind of changing. There's even a car company that puts together like kit cars and sells them in North Korea. They're one of the few companies that actually advertise. And so because of that, there is more traffic in residential areas, which has led to more accidents for kids who are not used to dealing with cars. So this was an initiative to teach kids the rules of traffic to promote public safety for children. One thing that's going on. Okay, so those are some of the design patterns and kind of common ingredients in a North Korean city. But let me show you some specific cities, because as we do that, you start to see how this country works, how its economy works. Hamhung is one of their bigger cities. You've got your standard big, giant, empty squares. This is actually a big economic hub for chemicals. Here's an area that some experts believe is a chemical facility where they actually store this stuff underground. Remember how they love to put everything underground to protect it? These little white dots sort of represent that there is something buried there, and potentially chemical weapons or other sensitive chemicals that they don't want the world to know about. See these big industrial facilities. They make a lot of chemicals, like fertilizer, pesticides. It's home to this pretty wild-looking amusement park. I don't know what is going on with these slides. Now, I've never seen it full of people, even when I go to a weekday in the summer. But I want to show you this one factory. This is a really important building in North Korea because this is where they make Vinylon. Vinylon is a fabric that you can make not with wool or cotton, but with coal and limestone, which is something they have a lot of in North Korea. So as a part of the push for self-reliance, North Korea produces this synthetic material, so Vinylon. They use it for uniforms. Like a lot of clothing in North Korea is made with this really tough, scratchy, durable Vinylon material. Use it for curtains. They kind of use it for everything. It's the North Korean like national fabric. So this is their biggest Vinylon factory right here. And it's so important that the leader came to the reopening when they renovated this thing. So yeah, Vinylon is made with coal. They mine a lot of coal in North Korea. If you zoom into this port in Hamhung, you see really gnarly looking yellow pollution. But also see ships with coal aboard. You'll see all this coal getting ready to be shipped, basically all of it going to China and potentially violating sanctions, but that's not what we're looking into right now. Let's go to another city that is interesting. It's up north, right in the shadow of Mount Pektu. This is a nice looking city. It's home to this ice rink. It's got a ski hill up here. There's, of course, the required children's traffic park. This was a big construction project for Kim Earth. Then you get these like really peculiar looking blocks that are just eerily symmetrical. They're kind of everywhere out in the rural area, and they are often built next to a farm. I've never seen villages like this anywhere in the world from the sky. They're just so clearly deeply planned. But what I'm learning is that this is how a lot of stuff gets made in rural North Korea, a lot of the farming. Like, look at this. Which look identical to each other. They're all a part of this factory. This is a factory that makes, let's find out. Boom, there we go, fruit. Or wasn't super loyal during the revolution. You are a part of the hostile class. Like, you are not to be trusted, you are not loyal, you will have the worst jobs, the worst opportunities, you will get the worst punishments. The wavering class are kind of the middle ground, and they are more trusted. They're still on thin ice like everyone, but they have more opportunities. Okay, I want to finish this video. The thing we can't really see on this map, which is the people.
They are regular people like you and I, and they have dreams and ambitions. They just want to have some food and enjoy themselves and go out with friends and just kind of have a happy life.
Of this place.
What's up, bro? What's up, man? Huh? Open your camera, open your camera. Yeah. I miss you, bro. Open your cam, open your cam. Hold on. Yeah. Đi đi Thảo Tăng thì ta. Thing activate on your OBS. Oh my god, you might be bro. Yo, Tota, I'm gonna keep. You're L streamer. You're L streamer. Antes de abrir live, eu te falei pra você coisar. Não vou botar porra nenhuma aí também, não. Você falou que não precisava de botar câmera. Se jogar sem câmera. Foda-se. Huh? What did you just say? Foda-se. On your OBS. Tá. Não quero saber. Não vem falar de. Eu falei isso pra você. Você falou que não ia usar. No seu OBS. Listen! Desativar câmera no seu OBS. Open your cam! No. Open your camera! No. It's not hard! I need help, Ray. You... No.
The Dallas Mavericks improbably will be on the clock, Shams, tomorrow with the #1 pick here. They've had a turbulent season, to put it kindly, trading the franchise and Luka Doncic, and now they're going to land Cooper Flagg. But the state of this team is not necessarily what you expect usually for a #1 pick destination.
Decision that's obvious for the Dallas Mavericks is drafting Cooper Flagg. Around that, there's a ton of decisions that they have to make. Yesterday, they did reach an agreement on a 3-year, nearly $60 million extension with Daniel Gafford. But the bigger contract decision right now that's looming for the Mavericks is Kyrie Irving. He's got a $43 million player option. The deadline is at midnight tonight, and the sides have been discussing 2-3-year contract frameworks. But right now, Kyrie Irving is looking at 3 different options. You're either going to opt into that player option, you're going to either decline it and likely reach an extension with Dallas, or you push that date back and allow the Dallas Mavericks to figure out, is there a way to get Kyrie Irving more money? Because listen, if he's opting in, that means one thing. That means that the sides could not find any type of common ground on a long-term deal. And of course, that's not what Dallas wants.
It feels like this is a group that if they can stay afloat until January, Flagg starts to gel a little bit here on Gray.
Carmelo Anthony is indicted for first. Let me get this straight. This dude goes and kills somebody, and now the family's going to get paid for it? Keep your head up, keep your faith. Free Carmelo. This baby was bullied and defending himself. They want to paint Carmelo as a gangster. He stabbed somebody in the chest with a knife. What are we doing here? Meet the judge that reduced his bond. Was just released out on bond, so he's out of jail now.
Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
There's a lot of responsibility for doing this. This was a huge mistake that she made for doing this. Nowhere did they get the 250K. Well, people gave them the money, right? Here we go. Just announced Carmelo Anthony was indicted by a grand jury for killing Austin Metcalf.
Good afternoon. Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. For weeks now, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury, and today I summarized that evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Carmelo Anthony, which they did. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core.
It's a 30-second. We're never going to see the video, by the way.
There are, in fact, reports claiming Carmelo Anthony's defense collapsed after the footage showed no signs of self-defense and no physical altercation initiated by Austin Metcalf.
I feel like everybody pretty much could have expected this to happen, but it's also good to see it happening. I think the guy's 100% going to jail. Who the fuck brings a knife to a track meet? I mean, let's take a step back here and just ask who the fuck does this?
The greatest trade ever was made by an unknown, small-time hedge fund manager who used an obscure, barely heard of strategy. His bet made nearly $20 billion in 2 years. The only other trades that come close are David Tepper's $7 billion financial crisis recovery bet and George Soros's $2 billion bet against the pound. John Paulson had no experience in the industry he bet on, yet he won. And this is how he did it. Welcome to ALUX, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Now, John Paulson's $20 billion trade, it came from a contrarian investment. Now, contrarian investing says the market is like a madman and you shouldn't pay attention to what it's saying or doing. It says you'll perform better when you move against what most people believe is true because people follow each other, even when they think they're following data. And when they follow each other, they get caught up swinging between euphoria and panic. This swing creates mispricing, so assets get overvalued or undervalued compared to their true worth. From 2000 to 2006, the US market was in this euphoric state. Usually, housing prices increase between 3 to 5% per year, right? But this time it was going up by 10% per year. Now, this was happening for two reasons. First of all, banks were handing out credit and mortgages to people who couldn't afford it. So more people were buying homes. Second of all, the credit rating agencies who looked at these mortgage packages gave them AAA ratings. So everything looked great. One day, from his office on Madison Avenue in New York, John Paulson notices a weird trend in the housing market. Now, one thing you've got to know about loans and mortgages here is that there are two categories of people who request them. One, prime borrowers, and two, subprime borrowers. Now, prime borrowers are financially stable people with good credit, usually above 660, and subprime is below prime. These are people with credit scores under 620. So when banks hand out loans to people with poor credit histories or low income, anything that makes them high-risk borrowers, it's called subprime lending. So to offset the bad credit scores of subprime borrowers, these loans have higher interest rates and more aggressive terms, like prepayment penalties. So John noticed that there was a massive increase in the number of subprime loans. Like from 2000 to 2006, owed on their homes doubled from 4.8 trillion to 9.8 trillion. Now, John knows that he doesn't have much experience with real estate, so he hires an analyst, Paolo Pellegrini, to help him do a deeper dive. So they find out that because the banks were the ones in charge of approving the loans, and they were then selling the loans to investors and getting their money back immediately, they didn't really care who they approved. Now, traditionally, banks made money by lending responsibly and collecting monthly payments over time directly from the consumer. The consumer would go in and ask for a loan. The bank would then approve or deny that loan, and the customer would pay the bank back. But without the separation, instead of the bank holding on to that loan for 30 years, it could sell it to Wall Street and immediately make the money back. Cheaper mortgages mean more people are coming in. And
you mean it?
Yes.
To God.
Will lie. No, I don't want you to die, baby.
It's sweet. Let me take some more. Have you died?
Let me drink again.
It's okay. Baby, you're drinking alcohol. I don't like you drinking alcohol.
Is it I gave you with your hand?
That girl I've
Why
already.
you not blaming me?
Oh, bad influence.
With your hand.
That
Guys,
girl.
it's not alcohol. It's a wine. It's not alcohol. It's wine. You see, can you drink alcohol like that? Jesus Christ.
Now I close my mouth. I'm sorry.
Okay.
What's happening?
Next page.
Oh, no, not the truth person nice self. Person pay 1 million. Have you break anything?
That's why does not have alcohol. No, that calm down. Now blood to the hot. Okay. All right, man.
I'm on a last. What do you also do now? I want to remove it.
Yes. Next stage.
Which next stage? Have you not finished? Me, I'm going somewhere that if you people don't get where to go, man, they go somewhere. And they go somewhere under the year.
Don't worry about you.
Oh, the woman said, no, we do the water. Maybe do that first. Yes. My baby, can you kiss? Do the water first.
I don't like water.
Thank you.
Maybe you should just
See, be dancing now.
Would you like to make a video?
You are ignoring the boy. The boy is like you. You don't know how to toast him. Maybe you know you like her.
I'm a married man.
You're a married person?
Married.
No, I'm not married. Okay, you are married to all of them. No, you guys just married. You guys look alike. Oh, yeah. Black skin, and a beautiful skin. You people say you what's happening? How do you bring drip?
That's what I show you in my phone now.
Maybe I don't do all this kind of thing. Oh, God forbid for my life, they don't want. Don't do it for our own first. I'm doing our own first. I'm not doing first. Go and do her now.
I just want to set your own, then drink her own.
No, do our own first. No, do our own first.
J'aime bien ce que tu proposes. J'aime bien ce que tu proposes. Baby, what you did ça. J'aime bien. Oh, baby, tu did ça. J'aime bien. Oh, baby, j'aime bien ce que tu proposes. J'aime bien ce que tu proposes.